Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault. Trustee Training. We're going to be talking about trust is private, 1% information. Definitely going to number this one, so just look out for that. But this is a traditional pop up episode. Trust is private, 1% information. Definitely want to do this episode today. There's a lot of questions that come through for trustee training all the time. And the one thing that people come through and maybe quite a few people have found out about the 1% information. They get their hands on the 1% information and they may think that it's just information. That doesn't, some people don't think that it's more than just 1% information. It's people to have this information. And they don't give it out easy. It's private. We talk about private, there's a clear distinction. We make that very clear at the vault. Trust is private, it's 1% information. It's not just, oh, I can Google it or I can search it on the internet, whatever that is. Well, if it's private, what's the point of doing an episode? We want to go over the fact that it is private. When you get your hands on it, it may not be easy to continue to get information if you burn bridges, if you burn relationships, if you use public mentality in the private. Oh, I could, write off debts. Nah, you don't do that in the private. That's not what happens in the private. You got to pay up. The private information shares with people doing things in integrity. When you talk about the 1% information, it's the information that protects you, not the information that's supposed to ruin you. 1% information is not the information that's taught in public school for a reason. You say, how do you carry wealth from one generation to the next? You invest in things that are never going to end, businesses that are never going to end. You're not doing every public business. People in the private aren't doing public businesses, they're doing private businesses. Their private businesses are what enable them to not have to think about public business. Some people say, whoa, how did they get into private? Or, some of these people have been into private for generations. When we talk about modern, we're talking about most people now that are first gen within after 80s, after the 70s, after the 60s, these people after the 50s pretty much it was a boom. A lot of first gens, but the information is still private. It's private? Well, what's the information that's private? Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. That's what's private. These people understand finance, money. We talk about, oh, well, what do you mean about finance? People got finance degrees and all these other things, and, oh, they did some internet search and now they got a financial education. Oh, these people got letters behind their name. Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the consultation, how, you're going to run into what's called financial professionals. Oh, I got a license. A license, I'm a certified this, a chartered this. They're chartered. They're chartered, right? Do they know the 1% information or are they dealing in controlled information because they went to a college, what we call public school? Oh, well, some of us went to private colleges that were funded by private families. That's why it's a private college. It's funded by private families. They make sure that their families and people that go to that school get a specific information. That's called controlled knowledge. If it's 1% information, that means that we gotta get around these families. We gotta go to what? The private schools. Can't do the public school. Oh man, I got a private education, trust Christian. Oh, I went to private school. Quite a few people tell us that, or they'll say I went to private school and I didn't get that trust information. Yeah, because it wasn't, because it's 1% information. The families in our sector don't want you to know that they have money. They are in the 1%. They're private. They don't want you to know that they're in the 1%. They don't want you to sue them out of their 1% money. That's the facts. You say, "Oh, I'm in the private sector. I'm coming over into the private sector, trust Christian of all. I'm looking to be like the wealthy guys. I'm looking to be, I'm looking to be the first 1%er in my family." Right. You're the first 1%er in your family. Right. Are you acting like it? Are you doing 1% things? Are you making the sacrifices for the first generation? We seen people this year go on vacations. This is supposed to be a daggone recession year, and people are going on vacations. It's not. We're not talking about wealthy people, the 1%ers. They've been gobbling up assets as the market is slowly declining or it's doing the sideways movement. Either way, it's still taking people's money. We were thinking about how the market is run by what these people call market makers. That's a real term. These are the 1%. When they make a move, they have to report it before they do it. They're dealing in the public markets. Those are your public 1%s. They're called market makers. They're moving the stock market. The ones that are giving the money to these companies so people can have jobs. Oh, Bezos, he's the richest. Who's funding Bezos? Who funded Amazon? Go look it up. Who funded Tesla? Oh, he flipped and put all his money in there. You're right. And the company is supposed to be worth a trillion or plus. So clearly, he may have put some money in. It just has greater capital gains. And he's got other people's money in the company. 1% in the public sector. And this is another guy, Elon. Well, I'm not taking a salary. I love what I do. Right. That gimmick. But we're riding around on private jets 2, 3 times a week, and we're supposed to care about carbon emissions. Clearly, if you're worried about carbon emissions, why didn't you create a jet that doesn't have carbon emissions? Will you ride on a jet 2, 3, 4 times a week? That's carbon emissions. In a PJ, ladies and gentlemen. Trust. That's the private 1% information. He doesn't own the jet. Oh, the company owns the jet. Okay. So he didn't go private yet, like the rest of them do. Some families do have businesses in the public and they go private. People say, "Oh, I'm in the private sector. I want to be in it. I'm getting it at a low cost. I didn't have billions to get into private. But are you willing to do what we're here to share? This is the 1% information." Okay, we got a workshop coming up. The workshop costs $3,500. It's for 3 days. The hotel is minimum $500 a night. If you're flying anywhere in the world, you're always going to fly first class, so you're probably paying for at least $1,000 ticket. That's how much your private education is going to cost. 3 days, 3,500. You're getting around people that are sitting in a room making that have net worth over liquid $100 million. They have businesses nationally, they have businesses internationally, they build businesses, and you're sitting in a room with those type of people. We just come across it, and yes, these workshops come up. They're not measly. They're not $350 workshop crying like a baby for $350 tickets. It's called a $3,500 ticket that is over 3 days, 8 to 5, and you're going to be sitting in a room with people that have over $100 million. Some people may say, "Oh man, well, what's the point of getting in the room where you don't have $100 million yourself?" That's the whole purpose of you being in the room. You obviously need to be around the money so you can get it. You got to be of value. People want to come in the private sector, they barely got a damn business that they want to build. Oh man, I didn't start an LLC yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still working a job. They got this job mentality. How you gonna be in the private sector with a job mentality? We're gonna address it. You are not going to survive in the private sector with a job mentality. You got to let go of the job mentally. Stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it. The reason why you still got a job is because you're talking about a job. We're talking about trustees. We're not talking about people that have jobs. If you got a job and you want it, great. We're talking about the people that say, "Oh, I'm coming into the private. I want to be in the private, and now I'm still thinking about my job. It pays me a little bit. It pays me enough, or it barely allowed me to have $5,000 in savings, right? Or you going on vacations like we've heard people going on vacations this year, supposedly in a recession year, whenever that's on paper. It's interesting to see that right now in the year and the times that we're in, where people are having to deal with that reality. Oh, are you in a recession? What are they going to call it? Not a recession? That's fine. Don't we can not call it. Don't call it. But when we're talking about private sector, right now there's workshops going on in the next 3 months. Wealthy people are meeting. One percenters are meeting. $3,500 is not the important part of it. It's the 1% room. Do you have the capital, the disposable capital to do what we're talking about? Do you have the flexibility in your schedule to go for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? And really, you have to fly in Sunday because you need to fly in the day before. You don't want your flight to be messed up so you can miss a day just because you want to get in. And, you know, that's how it goes late. If you look, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to the event. You could pay for 3 days and only go one day. That's up to you. But the point is, you're sitting in a room with one percenters. That's a fact. So when you're sitting in a room with one percenters, it's hard not to get rich. It's hard not to catch a jewel. But if you're going on vacations to Sobe, to Santorini, to the Cayman, what else are we going to talk about? What's the other place? Tulum. Oh, we're going to Costa Rica. Oh, we're going to Panama. Oh, we're going to what's the other place called? Tahiti. We got underwater hotel rooms. Yeah, and we're talking about investing in your private education. That's what we're talking about. The one percenters, they're on the islands that aren't popular by themselves. Maybe that's not a cool party, but when they pull in the yachts in Monte Carlo, that's the 1% environment. Are you going to the Monte Carlo yacht show? Oh man, Trust Christian Evolve. How much is that gonna cost me? Is that business or personal? Am I supposed to go look at a yacht, or am I supposed to go to the show, get on and walk around on some yachts and meet the one percenters? You meet them. You have to travel internationally. Oh man, Trust Christian Evolve. I gotta travel internationally to meet these people. I gotta travel internationally to meet the one percenters. I gotta go to Luxembourg. I gotta go to Liechtenstein. Sweden is Sweden okay? Can we still do the Swiss account? Is the Swiss private? Is the Swiss gonna protect me? Oh, Sweden's not private. Yeah, right. You think they don't want why would they tell you that it's still private? We're in modern times. Most people would just be going to Sweden if you knew that the rules were different. If you knew that Sweden is a very friendly place, but unfriendly actually to more Americans now than ever. Oh, I'm a citizen. Yeah, right. You walk through the door talking that you won't even get out the lobby. I'm a citizen. Yeah, right. Oh man, I want to operate internationally. I don't want the authorities or whoever to have looking eyes, or people know what it is. It's stealing of the wealth. We know what the prying eyes can want to get. Okay, are you talking about the money, or are you talking about trusteeship? Because trust is a private 1% information. We're talking about trusteeship. Trusteeship is where you're traveling nationally, internationally, and the family's investing in you at all times as a trustee. You got to invest in relationships and in education Oh man, I heard about the 1% information from this particular place, but I want to implement another 1% in strategy. Well, there is a difference between different organizations, and the private is not too many families running around, and the ones that are working together, and the other families that are working together are working together. It's private. It's not that many of them. They're working together. Just like their family in the public that have unions at their job, the private has not unions, but they have associations. They have events that they go to when we talk about the Monte Carlo Yacht Show. They're at the Monte Carlo Yacht Show. They're the 1% information. When you go walk around the yachts, you think you're not going to talk to somebody? You got to have the 1% money to even have the yacht. Well, we're just giving you food for thought. When you say, "Oh man, how do I diversify?" When you are going on these vacations to these places, you're looking to find out what a residence is. What's the residence going to be like? How do you get a temporary residence or a permanent residence? How much, you know, can you open up an account within these countries? How much can you contribute? Oh, I'm diversifying the portfolio in other countries, or you letting your 401k manager manage that? The private information is definitely controlled by private families, and that's why we're talking about this event, uh, because the the families, long story short, they're in the room together, the families are in the room together, and you got to bring your family in the room together. You got to have somebody from your side of the table coming in that room, somebody with your last name coming in that room, and you got to make it a point to the families got to make it a point to invest in their information. If the power is in the information, but at the same time, how are you going to get the information if you're not investing in the information? So many people think, oh man, I don't have that type of flexibility. Well, that's the situation you got to look forward to, is the freedom to hop on a plane and be there within short notice, and you got to be able to have those capital funds to go to those events. Whether it's the yacht show, whether it's the $3,500 workshop, you know, it's just all on how much are you willing to seek out those private environments and get in those environments. And we hear one of the senior trustees all the time say it's always about your environment, man. You gotta get in those environments. You gotta get it. It's about your association. Oh, I didn't think I was gonna fall into being a 1%er because I was around the 1%ers. They got 100 million. I guess it's cool to have few millions and 10 millions and 20 millions. Yeah, right. That's still 1%. How many people are going to invest in that education? How many people are going to get off their rusty dusty and put a lot of hours in to even becoming a 1%? Right. People the one, like we say, maybe some people think it's cool to take the vacations. Well, in the trustee training, we don't take vacations. It's always business. So all that personal conversation stuff, that stuff goes out the window, ladies and gentlemen. You know, when it comes down to the trust is a private 1% information, they're letting you know it's business. It's not personal. And it's family business in particular, not personal. It's never personal. The personal stuff is for public. That's why they have socials, because it's a public number. But when you're talking in the private, everybody say, "Oh, I want to be private trust Christian, the vote, the Moors, the UCC, the what is it? The we could call it the scamming party creditor, but what we gotta call it, the secure party creditor. The scamming party creditor. Oh, I'm a. What are you doing with that? What are they doing in the 1%? You think we talking about discharging some debt? They sit in a room with $100 million plus $50 million. No, they're not sitting there talking about some. Oh man, we're trying to discharge debt. They got attorneys for that. Oh man, but I'm from a different place, so I don't have an attorney. Right? Did you even have an attorney look over your paperwork? These are the things we're talking about at the vote when it comes to whether it's private trustee training or even just talking about the 1% information. Trust is private 1% information, right? It sounded good on paper. Wealth whispers. We're quiet. Did you have the 3500 to go to the workshop and be out there in less than 45 days because you found out about it and someone told you about it, or one of the private family members told you about it, and you got to show up and they telling you, look, we still letting you come to this event, but you're paying $3,500 and there's still other fees. Okay, can you do that? Do you have that level of flexibility in your schedule? Why? To get around the 1% families that are germane to your family estate. It's why is it not important? How is it not important? It is important. People make it a point to do those things. It's not a sacrifice, it's just an investment in the trustee. What they say, your net worth is your network. Right. So do you have a network of one percenters? Or do you got a network of whoever? And we not saying nothing against nobody, but we saying the facts. Trust is a private 1% information. So are you around one percenters? Or are you around, we're talking about money. Clearly they know how to get it. They know how to hold it. They know how to manage it. Ladies and gentlemen, the public market takes the public's money. The private market makes money in the private and in the public. Because people always ask, well, what's a private corporation? Those are private families getting money in the public. They understand what it's like to be in the private and in the public. Why do you go in the public? To acquire more assets for the private. You go in the public to acquire assets for the private. Oh man, okay. So where are we at? Are we in the private or are we in the public? Well, it's my mindset. I got a job and I'm trying to figure it out. And I don't really know a business. I'm trying to learn this trading stuff though, because if I learn the trading, I'm going to I'm gonna have to pick it up. And it's crazy. How do you think you're gonna enter an industry where the managers, the top flight managers, are getting millions of dollars in bonuses? Millions of dollars. You think you just gonna come in here? I'm a day trade. Ladies and gentlemen, all the people that were on those little apps from 2020 to 2021, do you hear about those apps anymore? It's like almost like the apps went bankrupt, but they're still around. They went public. These companies went public faster than the little bird company, Twitter. Twitter didn't go public for 10 years. And these companies, oh man, we're some public app letting people trade. The apps did so bad in 2021, they had to shut down the market. They shut down the market because of these apps. The apps were giving out false information. They did a pump and dump on the app. And then they try to say, well, a hedge fund, they bet against the public. And there was some people on this website called Reddit, and they outed the hedge fund. And that's why the public, who? The public got swindled. The hedge fund got bailed out by another hedge fund. That's how it works. And what happened to the public company that went public in less than 5 years? Oh man, they went in front of Congress, and what did they say? Oh, well, do you disclose the information? Are you selling people's information? How is it that this company tried to bet against the public, supposedly, which that's what they're, if they create a position, they knew that the company was bad. It was just they were over leveraged. They definitely didn't follow modern money management skills. When you're over levered in one particular company, they were over levered. The particular hedge fund, they were over levered. So you got these people that want to act like market makers in the public realm. They can hack public platforms nowadays. They hack the public platform, you could say, put out a post, Next thing you know, the public starts a buying frenzy, which is bad, and that's why they had to stop the stock market. They had to stop that particular company from being traded that day. Why? Because it was a pump and dump. Because the next day the company's down, it went up 100%, down back 100%. That cleaned a lot of people out. That cleans people out. People, it's not trading isn't one way, so they got cleaned out. If you were betting that it was going to go up and the next day the stock's down 100%, then you just get wiped out your position? Yes. But do people talk about that? No, because they got wiped out, so they're licking their chops. Oh man, I was in that, and and it was a pump and dump. Right? They're modern. They're still here. Pump and dumps are happening still to this day. We could say that they're allowed on the market. It's not something that's supposed to be allowed, but when these companies are doing what they're doing, hey, they went public. It was a pump and dump. And this company in particular didn't go public as a pump and dump. This is a company that's been around and they did a pump. There was a few pump and dumps in 2021 and they cleaned out the app traders. The app traders were supposedly getting paid for signing people up on the app. They were supposedly getting free stock from the app. Yeah, right. They got free stock of a company that's down 100%. And then the market kept getting worse from last year, 2021, to 2022. And they kept getting wiped out. And where are they right now? Companies are down 40 and 60%. Your big tech names. Oh, you're supposed to pile back in tech. Yeah, go along tech again. That's what they're telling you. Well, did we just experience a 2002 a 2000 tech bubble that just burst? Not only did you experience that, is the housing market in a recession? Right. We're not going to call the market. What we're saying is, what are you seeing in front of your eyes right now? Because the 1% information, they still having educational meetings. They focused on the stuff that's going to be around forever. How long is education in school going to be around? Passing along information forever. But when we talk about 1% information, it's controlled knowledge and there's private 1% information. For sure. So you got to invest in the information. You got to invest in the family. The family's got to invest in you getting out to those different type of environments. Bottom line. Bottom line. And this is where the vault is reporting live, letting y'all know from the private sector, like if you're not able to come over here and handle the investment in your education, you could almost call it quits. This is a sector where families aren't playing around. Families are going to come together, they're going to do business, they're going to go back home to their families. And they're meeting in foreign jurisdictions just as much as domestic jurisdictions. Can you do it? Ladies and gentlemen, the vault is cheering for you. We're broadcasting because you do have a chance if you do what the Trust Christian in the Vault is talking about: own nothing, control everything. It's a mindset. When we talk about getting over the job mindset, it's literally pushing yourself to get to the point where you are moving through the private sector. And sure, you don't need to go into the public, or if you do, you go in and get assets. You're building assets in the public, you're taking assets. That's what's going on. Oh man, that's what you're doing. Yes, the public. So we're excited. We're happy for everyone that's coming through the vault. Trustee training has been moving along, uh, and we're excited about that. I look forward to all the trustees new and listening on the replay. Always look forward to hearing from you all. Trust Christian in the Vault. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing you in trustee training. Trust is private 1% information. Peace. Enjoy.